So how interesting can a video about a webcam be? Well, I guess we're going to find out. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So this right here is Apple's original iSight camera from 2003. For 150 bucks, you could pick one of these things up and start video conferencing with your friends or your work colleagues if you're someone who enjoys doing that for whatever reason. And even still to this day, I think this is like the coolest looking webcam that I've ever seen. The design I think is really held up, and look, I'm sure most of us don't really think a whole lot about webcams much these days. I mean, we've got one built into our phones, and just about every laptop and tablet comes with one. And they all serve the purpose of letting you join those dreaded work meetings where you pretend to pay attention as your boss rattles on about stuff that doesn't pertain to you. But back around the time this thing came out, webcams were a lot more exciting because this was around the time when video chatting on your computer was becoming more accessible to people. And Apple took advantage of that at their 2003 WWDC keynote, where Steve Jobs announced an updated version of their IM client called iChat AV. Now, previously, iChat had been basically an Apple-ified version of AIM. You could use it to send instant messages to each other, and that was about it. So this was a pretty major update. And the iSight was announced as a companion product alongside iChat AV, and it was available that day for $150. But if you were a developer attending the conference, you got to take one of these things home completely free of charge, which, hey, I mean, that's pretty cool. However you ended up with one of these, if you did decide to pick one up, this is the box that it would have come in. So it's this nice cube here. And on the side, you've got a picture of the camera with one of its three stands. We'll talk about those in a minute. It does actually make mention of that right here. It also mentions it's got autofocus, it's got a microphone, it utilizes FireWire. You got a close-up shot of the lens up here. This was an f2.8 aperture, autofocus, 50mm lens with a 54.3 degree viewing angle. And on the back here, you've got some of the different ways that you could set it up. So we'll go ahead and just take the top sleeve off and dive in to what we have inside. So you got those two flaps, you open them up, you've got an enjoy booklet, and inside here is just, well, all the stuff that you don't really want to enjoy too much. You've got the user's guide, you've got the warranty, you've got the license agreement, and we're just going to set all of that aside because basically none of that is really interesting. And then here is the iSight camera itself, and I just love the way this thing is packaged. It's in this like cylinder. It makes it look like some sort of, futuristic thing, like a vial of something, I don't know, but you take off the top part and you slide the camera right out. And I mean, just look at this thing. Like, the design of this is just so cool looking, even today. I mean, like I said, I think this is easily the coolest looking webcam that I've ever seen. Now, of course, that being said, I don't really go and seek out webcams really at all these days, so, it's not really something that I'm actively looking for, but just, from the ones that I have seen out there in the wild, I really think that the design of this one holds up super well. So on the bottom here, you got your FireWire connection, and the lens here does have a privacy feature built in, so you can just twist the end of it here, and you got that privacy filter that goes over the lens, so that, the camera is not peeping on you when you don't want it to be. So yeah, we'll go ahead and set the camera itself aside for now, and then we can get into the various stands that you have for setting this thing up. Now, this was something that Steve Jobs was evidently very proud of, because he went on a whole spiel about how one of the biggest reasons he thought video chatting hadn't taken off as quickly was obviously, there were technical limitations and the hassle of getting one of these things set up and working on your computer, but also the fact that there were cameras at the time that they just sat on your desk in the corner, and so they wouldn't give you like a direct POV shot of the person's face. So you couldn't see them face to face, you wouldn't really form much of an emotional, or nowadays we would say parasocial connection with them. So these stands here allowed you to set up your camera to where it was always giving the person a direct view of you, whether you were using a laptop or a desktop computer. And there were three different ways of doing that. First off, you've got your kind of traditional stand here, which you could set up on your desk, but it's got this little sticky tape thing on the back that you peel off, and then you could stick it on the back of your monitor to, give the camera a direct view of you that way. You also had this mount that was specifically made for laptop computers. And then if we go over here on this side, you've got this magnetic mount. And so this could be used with like the Power Mac G5 or an Apple Cinema display, you know, something that had metal in it, obviously, because, you know, that's how magnets work. But anyway, aside from that, you've got a couple like connection pieces for, this is actually what the FireWire cable goes into to, you know, properly get it on one of these stands. I'll show you how that works in a minute here. And then we got like a plastic piece right here, and there's something else in here. That's actually just a little piece of like packing material. We'll just keep that in there. And if you're wondering where the heck the cable is, well, it's actually right underneath this piece of styrofoam. So there is your FireWire cable that we're going to use to get this thing hooked up. So let's go ahead and show you how that's done. Alright, so we're going to be using my iMac G4 to demonstrate the iSight, and the funny thing about that is none of the mounts that come with the camera seem to have been designed to work with the iMac G4. One of them does kind of work, and we'll get to that in a moment, but Apple did sell a separate mount, this optional flat panel display and flat panel iMac mount that you could have purchased, and this was basically the exact same thing as this desk mount here with this sticky thing on the back that you could peel off and stick to the back of your flat panel, and it had this neck that just stuck straight up and allowed the camera to point directly at you. This mount here that comes with the iSight was meant to be used either for setting the camera up on your desk or with a CRT iMac or the eMac here, where, you know, it's able to sit directly on top and kind of be angled at you that way. However, I did discover that you are actually able to use the laptop mount here with the G4 iMac just in the opposite orientation. So normally, if you had a laptop, you would set this up on the top of the screen like this, and you know, it would be able to sit behind it like that, and your camera would be up here and be pointing directly at you. But you can see on the G4, you can't really do that super well. But what you can do is just flip this thing around to the front here, and you can use the wheel here to extend this little piece all the way out, and you're able to just set it up like that, and it does slide around. It's not like, you know, a super tight fit, but, you know, as you can see, if I like do this wheel the other way, it becomes a lot more, you know, floppy like that. So it actually gets it to the point where you can just have it like straight up pointing at you. And you know, I tried this with the camera off camera, and it works totally fine. Just to show you the magnetic mount here, I'll go ahead and just push the display to the side. I mean, it is a magnet, so you could stick it to the neck of the G4 here if you wanted to do that for whatever reason. It's actually kind of a strong magnet too. You got to use a little bit of force to get that off of there. But obviously, I mean, this was meant to be used with either the iMac G5 or an aluminum Apple display, or you could even use it with the Power Mac G5 if that was maybe sitting on your desk or something. That was actually announced at this same keynote. So to get the iSight set up with our mount of choice here, we're going to take our FireWire cable and run it through the back of the mount like this. And then you get one of these two little plastic mounting pieces that come in the box, and you just take the cable and you kind of shove it in like that. And then this just goes down into the mount like that. Then you take your camera and you just connect the FireWire cable to it. And here's what that looks like all set up, so we can slide the camera around a little bit. It actually becomes a little bit more difficult to slide with the weight of the webcam being on here now, so that kind of keeps it in place a little bit more. And then, yes, like I said, we've got the cable running out here on the front side, so we're just going to kind of wrap it around back like this, and then plug it in to the iMac, and we should be good to go. And here we are all set up and ready to go. Now, one of the neat things about the iSight is that you can just undo the privacy filter here, and iChat will immediately launch and bring up my buddy list. Before we make a call, though, I'm going to hop into preferences just to show you around a little bit. And right here, it gives you a preview of what the other person would see. The iSight provided 640 by 480 video at 30 FPS and 24-bit color. You also got options to change the microphone that iChat is using, you know, all pretty standard stuff for every video chatting application. You can set a bandwidth limit if you want to. We can go over to alerts, and you got a whole bunch of options here for different events that happen. Messages is just like IM settings. You can manage your accounts. Now, one of the neat things about iChat AV is we can still utilize it today via Bonjour, which was previously known as Rendezvous when the iSight and iChat AV originally came out. And this just allows us to chat with people people over the network. So I've got another computer back here. I'm going to open up iChat on that. And right when I do that, you can see that my name has popped up in the list here. And we're just going to go ahead and do a video call. And there we go, starting video chat. And I'm going to go ahead and mute here just so, we don't have a whole echo situation going on. But, yeah, I mean, this is just like some cheap Logitech camera that I've got plugged into this computer over here. It's much newer than the iSight, by the way. I got that thing in like 2008 or 9. And yeah, it's just like 640 by 480 with a manual focus dial, whereas the iSight here again has autofocus. Of course, we can't really see that too well since, our preview window is down here, but I can expand the size of that. And of course, if I just go back into preferences here under video, I can get that preview again. Now I can go ahead and show you the autofocus a little bit better, so we'll go ahead and like get a real close-up shot of my hand here, and then yeah, just take it away. You see it focuses on what we got in the frame here. So yeah, I mean, it's just obviously video calling, standard stuff, nothing too exciting. But this video was mainly about the camera, and I can't really talk about a webcam without actually showing you video calling. So yeah, of course, to end a call, we're just gonna click the X up here, and of course that closes the window, and then we can go in our buddy list and call someone else, or of course you could just, chat with this person too, if you just want to bring up a chat window here. And yeah, there you go. I could just say, hello or whatever the heck I want. But I think that pretty much wraps it up for this little, again, I don't know how exciting of a video that this was, but hopefully you found it interesting. In fact, one of the reasons that I remembered I had this thing lying around and just hadn't done anything with it for the past 10 years was I saw this video from Fami recently where she took one of these iSights and utilized the Raspberry Pi Zero and basically turned it into a modern webcam, which I thought was a really neat project. So if you want to go check that out, I'll have it linked up in the cards. And but that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. Like I said, probably not the most interesting thing I've ever done, but I do think this camera is really cool, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, maybe let me know down in the comments below if you want to see more webcam review videos. Probably not, but hey, it's worth a shot. And if you really like this one, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member to get early access to these episodes before anybody else. But either way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.